Hi, you'll never guess what I want to talk to you about today. Love, of course. um, see, I've made several videos about love, and I talked to you about love being an eternal experience. Like you cannot love anyone outside of yourself if you're not loving this one. Like we are love. Everything is love. Like we could when we strip ourselves from the confusion, when we let go of all the thoughts and all the beliefs and all the feelings, what we're left with, what we rest inside of, is love. Like we are love. Our essence is love. Love is God, right? That is. Um, so, on the way to find love is going inward. So if you want to learn how to love your partner, learn to how to love yourself. Yet today I want to offer you a very different approach, going um, the opposite direction, like the other end of the spectrum. So instead of going inward, a lot of people don't know what it's like to go inward, don't understand even what that means. How do I go inward? What is that? Like everyone tells me I need to go inward. How do I go inward? It's confusing. I think I'm inward. Can I not be inward? Um, External makes a lot of sense because you put your attention on, like, I have something outside of myself here. I look at it, and this is it's outside of. It's easy to conceptualize. So, like, both have traps in them, right? Going inward, going external. So we gotta watch out for the traps. So going external, a lot of times is we we are tripping on ourselves, right? We are not really going outside of ourselves. We in a sense we can never go outside of ourselves because we've never experienced anything outside of ourselves. Everything that we've ever experienced has been within us. So, yet I'm going to talk to you about going outside of yourself. So, what I mean by that is loving someone else. But see, it is a trick because everyone outside of yourself is just a mirror of you. So, if you can learn to love someone outside of yourself, you're ultimately loving yourself. If you learn to love yourself, then everyone you look outside of yourself is love. Like, you can't, even if someone's in front of you wanting to murder you, you can still choose to love them, right? Someone has a gun pointed at your head, you can still choose to love them. But it can only arrive there, and it's not even a choice because you've arrived in love within yourself. So you're just witnessing them as love, and you're loving them. So, or you could take the other route, and you could be completely of service on someone outside of yourself. And the most beautiful and obvious place to start is with your intimate partner. That's where your relationship becomes a spiritual practice. So, but to love outside of yourself is you have to put yourself aside. So there's whatever your needs are, they're not relevant. If you want to reach to love, is you love your partner unconditionally. They can do no wrong. Everything you do, you see as love and as perfect. And you listen to them deeply and you listen to them intently. And when they want something, you worship at their altar. So this is very different at putting someone on a pedestal and thinking like, and a lot of people do this where they put someone on a pedestal and they worship them in a way that there's someone that's above you. So you're looking at them as that they're better than yourself. So that's not attractive. That's not. People don't like that. People don't like to be worshipped in that way. But if you remove yourself, that's where we start. Like if I fully put myself aside and I am no longer, right? Again, this is where it becomes one and the same practice, even though you're approaching it from the other end. Because ultimately, when you're coming back to yourself, when you're going internally, is you finding out who are you? You know, that's the question. You're not your name, you know your job, you know your profession, uh, you know any of those things. You know your body and you know your thoughts. So if you're not all those things, then what are you? You're pure essence. You're that which is has always been and always will be, right? You're that internal consciousness. That's who you are. That's who we all are. But we forget, and then we trip ourselves through this life trying to remember, right? Like, so a lot of people say, all about this is to remember, remember who we are, come home to ourselves. So that's the place. So if you're having a hard time going inward that way, can you love someone in front of you completely unconditionally? Right? Like, so give you extreme example is to die for to die for them, like in again, and then to such point you're willing to love them to such an extent that 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 willingly have to go hurt yourself. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's the intention behind it. Like, like when someone is going to die for a cause, right? But you're not dying for a cause, you're dying for your beloved, meaning, and the only thing that you, through that process, the only thing that can die is your ego, right? Like your ego gets challenged. I know this gets getting a little heady here, maybe it's hard to follow, but the only thing that it's can ever die is your ego, right? And the best way to face your ego is by loving someone in front of you unconditionally, because the ego is going to get challenged every step of the way. So if you love them unconditionally, they're going to say something that you don't like. Like, oh, fuck you, I'm loving you unconditionally. Why do you have to be this way? Don't you see I'm doing this for you? Like, why you have to be mean? They might not acknowledge you. They might not see you. They might not recognize you. Then they might not even acknowledge you. But these are conditions. And so when that happens, it starts to hurt. I'm like, whoa, this hurts. But what hurts? The only thing that hurts is your ego. So are you willing to face that, and are you willing to let it die? It is tricky, right? Because you also don't. It's where it gets tricky is that um, doesn't mean that you allow someone to be harmful to you at the same time, right? Like if someone is being, let's say, give an extreme example, if someone's being physically violent with you, um, you don't allow that, right? Like you still have to have your sovereignty, and if someone's actually a threat to you, and can you protect yourself? Like that's why martial arts is so beautiful, because it teaches us how to protect yourselves. But the idea of martial arts is that you never have to use it. Like if you the ultimate teaching of martial arts is if you have to use your skills, you have failed. You have failed to solve the problem in the situation. Uh, so you have this skill as a martial artist to even kill and to protect your family and the things that are important. But if you ever have to resort to actually using your skill, you have failed. So that's the true teaching of martial arts. So it's you have that skill, but the idea is that you never have to use it. So, and the people that are in martial arts at the beginning, they start learning it's this new power just newfound power that they have. Now all of a sudden, I have the power to do something, to cause damage. People, especially young people, when they come to this power, they want to test it, they want to play with it, they want to find out what they can do. But ultimately, the teaching of martial arts is to never have to use that power. So the same thing here. If, like, can you love so unconditionally, so fully that no one can dare touch you? Because in the presence of love, in the pure love, no one can touch this. So you can choose how you want to go about it. You could choose to go inward. You could choose to come to yourself, which is the exact same thing, because you're gonna have to face your ego, and you have to kill your ego, or your ego has to die in order to find love. Because the ego, and we're talking about concepts. Everyone has. I don't even like the word ego, but for lack of better words, I'm using this word. But the ego, so there's love. Love is behind, ego is in the front. And ego is between, it's like a filter that is in front of me loving you. So if I want to love you, I cannot love you because my ego is telling me that I'm maybe better than you, because I'm here speaking to you with a voice of authority, telling you how things are. So for a second, if I think I'm better than you, and if I know more, like I'm coming to talk to you from a place of I know more, I'm coming from a place of ego, and I cannot love you. But if I can remove the ego and be like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Ultimately, I don't know. And the more I surrender into the I don't know, the more access I have to my heart, and the more my heart can witness your heart. Because ultimately, we don't know anything, but we're not willing to humble ourselves to say I don't know. So I'm willing to be humble enough to say I don't know, and I'm willing to say, how do I love you? So you become a student of your partner. And if you say to your partner, I love you, I'm willing to do anything for you, and then they say, well, no, you don't love me, I don't feel your love, you get hurt. Instead of like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to love you. Teach me how to love you. Teach me how to be a student of your heart, how to be a student of your body, how to be a student of your heart and your body and your soul and your needs and your desires. Because I don't know. And I'm willing to put myself aside in order to learn. When you become a student, a true student, a humble student that can admit that they don't know to your beloved, you're not loving them. But to become a student, you have to humble yourself. That's what I mean by the ego has to die. So if you want to go from the point of going outward instead of inward, you can do that, because they're just a mirror of you. If you're not seeing them as pure love and pure essence, is because you're not in touch with the pure love and pure essence within yourself. So if you can start seeing that and start practicing that, and by humbling yourself and by willing to become a true student of love, a true devotee of your beloved's heart, you start to touch that dimension of love, of what is it to love them, what is it to be of service to love. And they might tell you things they don't like. They might say, well, what make me feel love if you give me some space and don't talk to me for 2 days? They're like, ah, ah, ah. I want to go to India and meditate for 3 months. A friend of mine did that right before he got married. I think it wasn't easy for his fiance at the time. It's like, well, we're about to get married. You're going to go to India for 3 months. So, what if they say that? I'm here to be a devotee to your heart. And they say something like this. Like, oh no, I was thinking about massaging your feet and going down on you, or making you dinner, or no, that's how you think you should love them. That's how you love. but they might receive love by in a very different way. They might want or need something that is gonna challenge your ego. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to face yourself and be a devotee of love? Um, so, and if you learn how to do that with an open heart and truly love, your whole world will transform. Your relationship will transform. And it's not tick for tack. This does not work if you try to do it. Oh, I'm gonna do this for you, but then what do I get in return? If you're like, I'm gonna do this for you, but then can I go for 3 months to Barcelona and party or or something like that? Yeah. So um, it cannot be tit for tat. So you have to be willing to be of service to their heart, to their desire, to their need. You have to be willing to be a devotee. And that's what love is. And they might, give you an extreme example. They might say, okay, well, I want to break up with you. I don't want to be with you anymore. Can you face that? And we're like, okay, I love you and I want you to be happy and I want the best for you. You have my blessing. Go be free. Can you choose to love them in that way? And then you're gonna have to face yourself in the mirror pretty intensely in order to be able to love them in that. Just like I said, the extreme example is someone pointing a gun at your head, and can you choose to love them all the way until they pull the trigger? It's your last seconds on this planet. Would you choose love or would you choose fear? Would you choose to love that bullet coming at you? So this could be your last moments in your relationship. What are you going to choose, love, or are you going to choose fear again? I'm giving you these extreme examples to paint the picture. That's not if you're in an intimate relationship and you come with to them at this way, um, be new and different. They might not know what to do, what to make of all that. So, but that's not what more likely scenario would be at first they will question it. They'll like, wait, what do you mean? They won't trust it. They'll feel uncomfortable with it. This is a lot more likely to happen. They might ask for something very little. They might, oh, can you rub my feet? Or like, can you make dinner tonight? Or, and you start becoming devotee of those little things. And they're gonna start relaxing. They're gonna start trusting. It's like, oh, I can relax here. This person truly loves me. And I've never seen true devotion and worship to don't inspire true devotion and worship in the other person. At first, that might make them uncomfortable and squirmy and might like make them, like what is happening, and stuff might come up for them when you approach them in this way. But true love and true devotion always inspire true love and true devotion on the other side. Anyone has ever approached me with unconditional love where it's broken my heart. It'll be like, how can I feel service to you? What, like, it's the most humbling thing if anyone's ever approached me this way. It leaves a mark in me that I can never forget, that I want to embody and give back to the rest of the world, even if not to that person. If that person was just a stranger, or that was a fleeting thing, or that's workshops. You go to workshops and people love you there unconditionally, and they become faceless people because there's people you might never see again. Uh, but you're touched by that. I'm like, wow, me being loved unconditionally had such an impact on me. What if I can do that to someone else? So I'll leave you with that. I just wanted to give you an option. If you want to go internal, you can take that route. Or if you want to go external, you can take that route. So internal, find what's preventing you from love. Don't look for love. Love is already there. You're love. It's your essence. You don't have to look for love. You don't have to look for loving yourself. You just have to look for all the things preventing you from love, the love that you are. And then if you want to take the approach externally, look at your beloved and find out, what is getting on the way of loving them unconditionally. How are you getting on the way of loving them unconditionally? And the approach of, I don't know what I'm doing, how to love you, is the way to get there. Oh, that's my summary. If you made it this far, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and follow for more.